Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. I am just checking audio and video as everyone starts to join. Happy Thursday. Such a big week we've had. Okay, it looks like LinkedIn is up. It's my first ever LinkedIn Live. So I'm excited to be testing out the LinkedIn Live platform. As everyone starts to join, let me know where you're tuning in from. Please comment below as I'm kind of doing a little tech check. Jumping in really quick. I have this in my Facebook group. I'm going live. Yep. Awesome. Looks good. Hi. Welcome, everyone. Let me know in the comments. We are currently live streaming across LinkedIn. We are live streaming on my Facebook group for nonprofit marketers, and we are live streaming across YouTube. So no matter what platform you're on, if you comment, I will see your comments pop up. So let me know where you're tuning in from, what organization you work for, maybe what you're looking to get out of today's session. And hey, hi Maria from Kentucky. Amazing. So glad you're here. Thank you so much for letting me know. And always, as I'm going through this, please rate your questions below. I provide these live training sessions for the ability to be able to have more of a conversation with you, learn what you're working on, learn what I can help you with. And as I'm going through the process, if you want me to pause, go back to something, again, this time is for you. This training is for you. So as we go through, always feel free that you can write in your questions in the comment section. So without further ado, I'm going to jump in. Oh, first time joining a live with you from Tampa, Florida. Amazing. I'm from Sarasota, Florida. So that is where my roots are, but I'm currently in Atlanta. Thank you for being here. We have Maria, and she's joining on LinkedIn. So happy to have everyone. Okay, so today we are talking about how do you start planning a social media strategy. Molly's here from Englewood, Florida. All right, some Florida people in the house. I love it. Julie here from California. Hi, Julie. So glad you're here. Amazing. So I'm glad everyone can hear me okay. And I'm going to jump right in. But again, I can see your comments coming in. If you have any questions as I go, please feel free to stop me. But today we're talking about data, because anytime you start a social media strategy, it is so crucial to look back at your data and analytics in order to make a more informed decision on what your social media strategy should be. And I am prone to not do this for myself. So at the beginning of this year, hey, Amy. Amy's here from Sarasota as well. Nice to see you. I don't do this a lot. So at the beginning of the year, I made sure to do a mini social media audit of my own business. And it uncovered a lot of really interesting information that then is going to lead me and guide me into planning out my digital and social media strategy, at least for Q1, right? And then I can reassess and look back at the stats again. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So first things first, if you don't already have one, this is going to be a very information heavy session. So grab a pen, grab a piece of paper if you don't have one near you. And if you take a screenshot, if you're writing notes down and you take a screenshot of your notes and you tag Positive Equation with 1 E on Instagram, or tag Positive Equation on LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you share these notes, you can win. I'm going to give away to one person a free 30-minute consulting call with me. That is worth $100. So make sure if you're writing your notes down, all you have to do is take a screenshot, take a photo of your notes, whether it's on the computer or if you're writing on hand, share it, tag me in it so I can see it. And one of you lucky winners will win a 30-minute consulting session with me. So if we have not met before, if you're like, who in the world is this person? Hi, I'm Dana. I am a digital strategist and what some people say, like social media guru, and also virtual event producer, which has been very popular as we've been going through this pandemic together. And what I do is I help nonprofits cultivate a passionate online audience of donors, supporters, and advocates. And I do this through my online courses. I have a shop full of templates and downloadables and guides and run of show templates. I provide, which we're going to be talking about today, a really, really deep dive, comprehensive social media audit. So we're going to be talking about that today for nonprofits. And then also I do live trainings like these. So again, also in the comment section, which we're going to call our little chat, no matter where you're watching from, if there's something that you're really wanting to learn about, let me know, because I do live free trainings every first and third Wednesday of the month. And then I've been able to work with some really incredible organizations over the years, from Movember, Dress for Success, the Holocaust Museum LA, the Sarasota Community Foundation for some of my Sarasota people watching. I was a digital producer on American Idol for a season. So when I was in Los Angeles, so crazy experience there. And then a little bit about me: from Sarasota, bounced up to Manhattan and New York City, moved across the country to Los Angeles. And then just last July, I am now in Atlanta, Georgia. So I've made my way back to the East Coast. I am a Knight graduated from UCF. And a little fun facts: I used to be a competitive figure skater, and we have a mini Labradoodle puppy that just turned 1 year old yesterday. So his name is Malo, named after Saint Malo in France, where my husband and I got engaged. So a little bit about me. All right, so we're going to dive right in. So on your notes, if you want to break this down into like two different sections, this is going to be a 2-step DIY, do-it-yourself, social media audit. So the first part that we're going to go through is we're going to look at your Google Analytics. And if you do not have Google Analytics already set up on your website, you need to do that as soon as possible. Because what I look at, and these are just some high points, are my overall page views year over year. So I want to understand, how many page views do I have? Where are people going? I want to understand my top pages, and I put top 5. How are they getting there? So what are my top social media channels for acquisition? Who is coming to my site, right? Where are they from? This can help me with marketing. This can help me with my advertising efforts. This can help me with better understanding my donors and my supporters, right? So the top states, and then some demographic information. This can also play into your social media ad strategy if you're spending funds and you know that people within certain states are gravitating more towards your website. You can target them on social media. And then the second aspect, of course, we're going to look into social media analytics. I use Sprout Social, so that's the tool that I'm going to pull up. And for social media analytics, the top points we're going to look at are growth. So what channels are growing the fastest? Engagement, where am I seeing engagement and conversation happening? Demographics, who am I talking to on my social channels? Who's there? Who's following me? And then what are my top social media posts? So what content really resonated with people? So today I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to dive through this audit on my business. So you're going to see behind the scenes into my Google Analytics and my social media analytics, with the hope that you can replicate this and take it into your organization and kind of rinse and repeat. Hey, Pam. Thank you for being here. Pam's watching on YouTube. Awesome. Everybody's tuning in from all different channels. Amazing. Okay, so first things first, Google Analytics. I'm going to go, so the 2 top points we're going to do in this first round of Google Analytics I'm going to show you is I want to understand what my website views are and what my top 5 page views are. So I'm going to switch over. This is my Google Analytics. So I am logged into Positive Equation, my website. And the first thing you'll notice that I need to do is I need to change my date range over here on the right-hand side, because it's just looking at this January and it automatically will do this. So I'm going to go ahead and expand this back to January of last year. And then I want it to go through December. And then I'm going to click this box where it says compared to, and instead of previous period, I want to do previous year. So I'm comparing 2019 to 2020. I hit apply, and this blew my mind. Okay. So look at this traffic increase. So I had page views went up 267%. I went in 2019, I had 8,779 website views total for the year. last year, I had 32,259 website views. Okay. And this came from my individual users went up 339%. Incredible. So what's interesting now is I remember at the beginning of last year, I wanted to see month over month views. And what's interesting is if you look at, right, it was still pretty low here, and then it really took off June through December. So the work that I was doing June through December skyrocketed my views. So now I want to understand, where were these people going? What were they interested in? So on the left-hand side right now, I'm under audience and overview. I want to go down into behavior. Nope, sorry, further down, this behavior. Behavior, and I'm going to click overview. Okay, so now I want to see, where were these people? Okay, and so let me see if I can get a better viewpoint. I'm trying to get the best viewpoint for you guys with a small screen here. I think it should be, yep, I still have the right date. Okay, so my top 5 pages, this is my home page. So this was my top page. The second one was my 5 virtual event platforms for nonprofits. This is a blog. So this was a blog. Virtual event run of show template. This is something that's in my shop. So so 2 of my top 3 were all about virtual events. 4 social media workshops for nonprofits. So this was within my kind of consulting capabilities. And then number 5 was shop. And if I keep going down, I can see the other top pages. So right off of the bat, I can look at this and I can see my year over year page increase was huge. I can understand what my top 5 pages were and see them by the stats. And then what's really important, and the questions you need to ask yourself are, as a nonprofit organization, in your case, is there a donate button on these pages? Is there the opportunity to grab someone's email address, to let them have the opportunity to enter their email so that you can have them in your newsletters, right? Is there the opportunity on these pages for you to share more about your mission? Is it where brand partners will be going? So are these top 5 pages designed in a way that allow you to have the best engagement and interaction possible with your donors or your sponsors? And in my case, do I have a pop-up on these pages? Do I have a pop-up to grab emails? World Spine Care, this is just what we need right now. Good, I'm so glad. It really helps you do some deep dive thinking to understand, are these 5 pages set up properly? And then to not look at this year over year, but to look at this month over month. So as you're publishing new blogs and new content, you can understand, okay, are these pages set up to perform, right? Instead of just somebody coming, they're reading and they're leaving. Are they coming, they're donating and then they're leaving, or they're coming and they're providing their email and they're leaving? Is there an extra action or call to action that you can provide? So it's really understanding, what is the data telling you? Secondly, I'm going to go back into my analytics and I want to know, how are they coming to my website? So again, on the left-hand side here, I'm going to click on acquisition overview. And here's, let me just check my dates. You always want to check, yep, I'm looking at the right dates. So I can see here, blue was 2020, orange was 2019. So huge difference. Direct, organic traffic, and social were my 3 main key generators that people reached my website. So social, if I'm interested, I'm like, how did it's up 122% year over year. So if social, and when I've performed a social media audit for other nonprofits and social was in the top 2, and if you're not investing in your social media strategy and it's in your top 2, you need to make sure you're doing that. So I'm going to click on social. And this is going to show me my top channels that are driving people to my website. Facebook is number 1. Facebook is known to drive website traffic. I post a lot of blogs. I do a lot of live streams. So this makes sense. And I do some ads. Pinterest is interesting because what you also want to look at is, although Pinterest is generating some traffic for me, the bounce rate is pretty high. So I might not be reaching the right people on Pinterest, or my strategy is not working to make sure that I have a qualified lead coming to my website. LinkedIn, however, much smaller, but the bounce rate is much lower. So to me, this means, okay, I need to invest more time into LinkedIn because more qualified people are coming to my website and seeing my website of value, and they're not leaving as quick. Instagram, same thing. Instagram is smaller, but half, like 30% less of a bounce rate than Pinterest. So how do I get the more people to find me on Instagram? Because they're more of a qualified lead, right? And then you can go through and see how each channel is performing. So this is really interesting for you to get an idea of, you might be shocked at which channels are driving the traffic for you, but then you want to kind of go down and understand, okay, bounce rate, are they somebody of value that's trying to get to your site, or did they go to your site on accident? Okay, and then secondly, so I have my top 5: Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter were my top 5. And now I want to look at the top states. So who are the individuals that are coming to my site? So I'm going to go back to audience here on the left, and I'm going to go into demographics and overview. Again, all on that left-hand rail. So right off the bat, I can see age and gender. So heavily female, and that was kind of year over year. And then what was really interesting to me actually was to see that my top audience was really this 25 to 34 and 35 to 44 demographics. So from here, I can also break it down by geography. So I can go into location. Make sure my date's right. Yep. So I can go into United States. And now I can see by specific state. California, Texas, Virginia, New York, and Florida are by far, and actually California and Texas and Virginia, really interesting, are my top 3 states. So this can inform my social media strategy in terms of any ads that I might be running. I can target these states. Or you might be thinking, wow, we have a ton of donors from Florida. We didn't think that there were donors, or we didn't think, or there's a ton of traffic coming from Florida, but we don't have donors there. We need to make sure to engage, to educate this audience, to allow them the ability to donate to us and let them know that that option's available. So there's a lot of learnings that come up by you just looking at this data. So again, for me, top states, I listed them here, and my top social media channels that provided acquisition to my website. And then I looked at my demographics, 32% were 25 to 34, and nearly 70% were female coming to my site. So then the second aspect is you say, okay, I have a great idea of what's going on with my website by looking at these key stats, and you can go in much deeper. But for the sake of kind of a DIY social media audit today, I just wanted to highlight a few. And why I like to reference, I'm just going to remove this really quickly. Okay, why I talk about websites first in Google Analytics is if you have a brilliant social media strategy, but you're trying to drive traffic to a website that's not built properly, that doesn't allow people to have the right engagement and interaction with you, they're not going to take the call to action that you're asking them to do on social media. It doesn't matter how brilliant your social media is. If they get to your website and your website is failing them, if someone can't find your mission, your impact, a place to donate quickly, right off the bat, they're gone, right? They're off your website. So you want to make sure that your website is your storefront, right? Right now, especially during COVID, when no one's visiting anywhere, your website and your social media channels are how people learn about you, how they vet you, how they understand if you're credible or not, okay? So website first, and then you dive into your social media analytics to help make sure you're driving the right traffic there. So we're going to head back in, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up. This is Sprout Social. Sprout Social is a paid social media management platform that I use. And this is also the program that I use to pull in all of my insights and analytics for clients that I work with and do a much deeper dive into all these beautiful reports and graphs that they provide. So Sprout Social is amazing for publishing, for social listening, for analytics data. It's a full service platform. It allows me a much richer look than just utilizing the native analytics platforms themselves, although that is free. But for today's instance, so I'm going to look. This is, again, looking at last year compared to the year prior. I am looking at Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Pinterest. This first graph is showcasing to me my growth. So it looks like out of 555 new followers last year, 516 of those were on Instagram. So Instagram is by far my highest growing platform. So I'm going to make a note of that. I'm going to keep scrolling down. I'm going to skip some of these just for the state of this. If I look at my impressions, though, my impressions are nearly evenly split between Facebook and Instagram as far as people seeing my content. My engagement also nearly split, Facebook and Instagram. LinkedIn is nothing, and that's because I did not post anything. This is looking at my business page, not at Dana Snyder personally. So my LinkedIn page needs a ton of help, and I think that's an area where I have tremendous area for improvement. But this just showcases to you, Facebook and Instagram are roughly the same. And then I can go individually into the channels. So if I go, so let me go back to the presentation really quickly. So engagement, my growth, right? Instagram was nearly all of that. If I go to my engagement was about 4% across the board, which is okay, which is pretty good. And then my top for engagement was Facebook. Now, if I go into demographics, this is where you'll see an interesting shift. So now I'm going to go by Facebook individually. I'm going to click on demographics here on the top. And what I love about this in Sprout is it breaks down my Facebook page fan demographic, so who's following me, which is this area right here, versus, which is what's more important, is the people that I'm actually reaching. So I'm actually reaching a much more diverse age group, really from, 25, all the way through 65 plus, really, versus people who follow me, it's 40% 25 to 34. So this is interesting. So the content that I'm putting out is reaching a more diverse audience set than who the followers are. And then I can look at top cities. I can look at top countries. So I can look at Facebook, and then I can pull up Instagram and go to demographics. And here it's heavily, which makes sense, that 25 to 44 demographic. So looking at this, it's showcasing to me my content probably needs to change, understanding my demographics are very different on these two platforms as far as who I'm reaching with my content. Does that make sense? Let me know if you're with me in the comments. Give me like a thumbs up. Let me know if you have any questions as I'm going through this, if it's making sense. I love to have feedback as I'm going through this. So let me know if any of this seems confusing, or if you have any questions, or you just want to give me a thumbs up that you're here with me. That would be awesome. Okay, so demographics difference, we look at that. So Facebook versus Instagram, you want to look and understand what your followings are. And if you're looking at other channels, you can do that as well. And then what's also interesting when you're trying to think about a common question that I always get is, what do I post? What content do I share? What's going to resonate? So let's go back and let's look. So let's look at Facebook. I'm just going to scroll down. These are my top 3 posts from last year. If you notice, all 3 of them, there's a little icon here. They're all video. All 3 are video. So this means to me, I need to be doing video content, and all 3 of these is about a workshop. This was doing like a little training. This was an award that I won actually from Sprout Social last year. So 2 out of the 3 are training videos. So this tells me on Facebook, I've posted a ton of blogs. I've done a ton of graphics. Those aren't working the best. So I need to focus on video content and longer form video content. So look at that. And then let me go to Instagram. So these are my top 3 posts on Instagram. The first one is my wedding when I got married last October. And then these 2 aren't even my content. These are stories I reshare. These are positive, inspirational stories of doing good. So this was going back to the beginning of the year. Pam, thank you so much. She says, loving this. Now, I'm going to switch this because of when COVID happened. So if I change my date a little bit and I say, okay, what happened after March? So I'm going to let these, okay. So again, all 3 of these have me in the post. Now, I don't post a lot of things on my Positive Equation page that focus on my picture, but this is what Instagram is. Instagram is a visual platform. It is personal. People want a positive story, right? So all 3 of these, I was talking about, the first one obviously is the wedding still. The second one, I'm talking about my routine, my Enneagram, my morning routine. And the third one, I'm talking about resources and providing resources, but they're all 3 have me in the photo. So this is educating me to say, I need to put out more content there that has my face in it, which I don't do all the time with Positive Equation, but I should be doing that. So back to the presentation, right? Instagram was my personal life and positive stories, and Facebook was 3 videos about teaching. So this is helping me really quickly at a glance, right? This just took about 20-ish minutes on a quick check. Answering the question of where do I need to focus my attention? Pinterest drew in a lot of traffic, but had a really high bounce rate. So in 2021, I'm going to try switching it up, and I'm going to focus more on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram because they had the lowest bounce rates, which means those people are of more value to me. And I'm going to really focus my efforts on growing those platforms. Then the second question is, but what content should I be posting on those platforms for it to work? I was able to look in quickly and see that I had success with video content on Facebook and driving website to my traffic. And Instagram, I had a lot of success with personal moments and sharing positive motivational stories. So maybe I look into doing a series with me talking to other executive directors or nonprofits and highlighting positive stories, highlighting individuals, because it seemed like people were resonating more with a person-to-person approach, a one-to-one approach there. So easily through those metrics, I have a much better understanding of where I need to focus my attention, what content I should be posting based on data. So if you're like, this is all great, Dana, but I don't have any time to do this. I don't know how to do this. What are you talking about? If you're still a little bit lost, Clara, thank you. She's up here. She says, awesome. We've got Pam saying, loving this. Amazing. So I worked with Lisa Moon. She's the president and CEO of the Global Food Banking Network. And I worked with them on doing a social media audit last year, where they wanted to better understand really how to align their business goals with a social media strategy that was going to work. And we dove in deep. So I put together roughly 40 to 50 page report with all of these graphs and insights and analytics. And from that, we were able to look at and devise a strategic plan of action for her team to execute that aligns directly with data points, right? From that conversation, the outcome was they asked me to write up a full-time job description because they then understood how much value digital played in their organization. Secondly, I worked with Dressember. They're an amazing organization out of Los Angeles trying to end human trafficking. And a ton of really neat insights came out from their presentation. I'll never forget, they primarily have a heavy female demographic of supporters. And what's interesting is of their top 3 posts, 2 of them had men in the post, men being supportive of trying to end human trafficking. So therefore, then we had a conversation where, maybe instead of a lot of female influencers that you work with, maybe you should work with some powerful male influencers in the space. So that was a whole different strategy twist on it. I also did one last year for the Holocaust Museum of Los Angeles, and we were able to uncover through the social listening aspect and doing a competitive analysis set, we were able to understand where is the conversation happening about the Holocaust in the world, in the United States? Who's talking about it? What programming should we then put together based upon this data, right? It's programming, it's marketing, it's your development, it's your social media. This data touches every aspect of your organization, every aspect. So if you're interested in finding out more information about a social media audit, and stay tuned to the end because I'm going to give you a little teaser here. I do two different types. I do an audience analysis plus a 1-hour workshop that starts at $1,000. And if you're trying to uncover new donor opportunities, inform how to increase your ad spend in the right places, develop the right brand partnerships with sponsors, understand your audience better, your current one, and maybe one you're looking to grow. If you're trying to grow your donor base into millennials and Gen Z, this one can be for you. And then the more comprehensive one is a full deep dive social audit. I will look at all of your channels, all of your owned content. We'll look into competitor sets or like-minded organizations to see how they compare, how your videos are doing. We'll look into your website, into your Google Analytics, like what I just did. And we do a 2-hour workshop that I spend with you diving through the whole presentation. And then we'll talk about, we do a little brainstorm activity and we talk about what your business goals are. And then I provide direct strategies that I recommend based upon the data that you can implement. So if this is of interest, and let me see if I have the link available. Yep, I'm going to put a link in the comment section, which this is to book a 15-minute free call with me. And we will talk about if doing a social media audit is right for you, what problems you're having, what you're looking to solve, what your goals are for this year. You can click that link. It'll open up Calendly and you can book a 15-minute call with me. Again, totally free. And we will talk about which audit might make sense for you. And then if you do book within the comments, if you book the call and you book it within this conversation that we're having and you see it through this video, mention that you watch this video and you will get $100 off any audit option that you choose. So let me know again, as we're going through this, if you have any questions into what an audit creates. But essentially, the biggest takeaway is if your social media content right now, if your strategy is not bringing in increased website views, if it's not bringing in new donors, if you're not seeing more emails coming into your newsletter, that's what social media should be doing. And social media should be generating an additional revenue stream for you. If it's not doing those 4 things, then your business goals and your social media strategy are not aligned. Social media works when you have the right tools and the right plan set up. So with that, if you have any questions, let me know. Again, make sure if you were writing notes during this presentation, take a photo, take a screenshot of your notes or of this presentation. You can take a photo, and if you share it on social media, someone will win a free 30-minute consulting session with me. And again, the link in the comments is how you can book a 15-minute call with me. And now, if anybody has any questions or comments, let me know, and I will do a little Q&A, or if you want me to go back. I did see the Children's Cancer Foundation. I'd like to understand what people are doing on LinkedIn. So it depends. So LinkedIn is more of a search engine, and it's very business driven, right? So a lot of times, and this is a brilliant thing about LinkedIn, there's usually a higher caliber as far as influencers and business decision makers on LinkedIn. So there's a different audience set there. So if you're looking for hiring, LinkedIn's a great place to be. If you're looking for, if you want to do some thought leadership pieces, LinkedIn is a great place for you. If you're doing some work in the research space, anything around business of your organization can go there. Even fundraising can go there. Movember, they had a LinkedIn strategy that they were doing to get businesses signed up for like peer-to-peer fundraising campaigns where they would register businesses. But honestly, it's different based upon everyone's organization. You could be doing a live, right? You could have a live show set up on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has a lot of untapped potential, I believe, in reaching the right decision makers. The other powerful thing for LinkedIn for nonprofits is sponsorships. If there's a company, I'm going to go ahead and remove this. If there's a company that you've been looking to reach out to for digital sponsorship, you can search on LinkedIn by specific titles. So if Nike, I'm making this up, if Nike was an organization that you wanted to become a sponsor, you could search on LinkedIn or on Google to get you there. Director of Corporate Social Responsibility, Nike, LinkedIn. Hit that search on Google and you can likely find very quickly somebody to talk to about partnerships. So that's a big opportunity for nonprofits to use LinkedIn. Clara, yes, she goes, no questions right now, but I need to run data on Facebook and Instagram. Yes, and if you do not have a tool like Sprout Social, that's okay. I highly recommend them, but you can pull up your data natively on each account. So again, if you have any questions, drop them in. Click the bit.ly link with the social audit call. We can schedule 15 minutes on the calendar to talk more about your specific business goals and how I might be able to help with the social media audit. Starting to book them up for February and March. And I only do a couple a month because they're pretty intensive. Usually takes me about 3 weeks to a month to get the data ingested, to do the report. It's a 40 to 50 page deck for the comprehensive audit. And I'll put those actually back on the screen. So the second one takes about a month or so, and then we figure out a good time to chat for this 2-hour workshop. And I've had development teams, there's been marketing teams, communication teams, leadership have all been on these phone calls because it involves every aspect of the business. So it really tries to set you up for success for all of those programs and kind of the operations talk to one another. The audience analysis can be done much quicker because it's not looking into as deep of a dive. And again, if you mention during our phone call or if you share on social that you watched this presentation, you'll get $100 off either of these audit opportunities. Awesome. Okay. With that, if there's no other questions, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this was really beneficial. What a big week we've all had, right? So thank you for joining me. I was supposed to schedule this yesterday, but I was like, that is not going to happen. I was glued to my TV. And then like many of you, I felt like my inbox was really slow, which was great because I think a lot of people were just kind of taking in the day. So I hope you were able to take in the day yesterday and really kind of kick off the rest of a great week. And feel free to reach me, Dana, at positiveequation.com or positiveequation.com is my website. And I cannot wait to hear from you and see you crack some of those numbers to see where you end up with your own social media audit. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. I have 2 live mini trainings next week. And actually, I can share them on here too. One is on virtual events. So if you're looking to plan a virtual event, I'm sharing 5 ideas to integrate right away into your virtual event. And I'm hosting it on a platform called Run the World. So you're getting a live demo experience of a virtual event platform. Let me see if I can share this with you while we're doing the presentation. So it's on Run the World. And then here, I'll put it in the chat. You're welcome, Julie. And then the second one on the 28th is, are your social media accounts set up for success? So that will be specifically geared towards talking about Facebook and Instagram. Facebook and Instagram. So diving through, are your Facebook and your Instagram channels set up for success for you? So diving into some key tips and tricks to make sure that you are getting the best engagement possible across the board for those. So with that, I hope to see you next week. I hope this is really beneficial, and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye, everyone.